Today we'll be looking at these. Now these are some bargain friendly watercolors that I bought at a local store here in my country. They are Centrum Watercolors. They come with 6 colors, no color names, and they're just watercolors. Nothing really written. It's all written in German, I believe. Here, is that German or Polish or I don't know. I don't know what it is. It does have here in English watercolors. So yeah. So these are the Centrum watercolors. There's 6 colors that comes with it. These are the colors here. Now, as usual, I'll be giving you guys my first impression of what I think these are, what I think of these, and then I'm gonna take them away, do some work with them, and then return back to you with a full thought and perspective. And yeah, these amazing brushes that I haven't been able to master, so we'll just put that one side and use brushes that I'm more familiar with. Okay, so I've put a little bit of drop of water on each well, and also it does have a form of color indication here: orange, yellow, red, green, blue, and a black. Amazingly though, it is not in the same order here, because I can clearly see the yellow is here, and if this is the black and this is the orange, so it's clearly not in the same order it is in here. So yeah, so anywho, I do have a little swatch card prepared for these, so I'll be swatching these on this little swatch card. I'm gonna start off this swatch session just trying to I don't think it's this way or this way, because this is clearly an orange, it's not a blue. So I want to try to see if I could swatch it in a circular motion like they do, like other amazing art YouTubers do. Okay, let me bring you guys in a bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. The color look kind of milky. Okay, yeah, you can clearly see it's very milky there. Okay, and it's not as pigmented, well, not pigmented, but as bright as I would like to think. It's very dull if this is the red. Okay, now we'll try the yellow. I don't know. This has this milky, like it just comes off kind of milky when we're trying to get color out. It's not as bright or as saturated as I thought it would be, you know, when compared to the Crayola or the Basic or the Crazy Art. It's not as saturated. Those have really saturated colors. This obviously don't. You guys are not even seeing what I'm doing. Okay, so this is clearly the blue-like color. And again, it's not as saturated as I would like it to be. It's kind of dull. It doesn't even look, the blue doesn't even look like how it represents here. You can see it's very dark here, but when you mix it all up, it's very dull. Kind of looks like, I don't know, if bring you in a bit, the orange illustrates it perfectly. Look at the, oh gosh, you see that? Like there's a skin, and where the color is coming from is kind of like off the skin. Yeah. So I don't know. So we're gonna work with this. Well, I'm gonna work with it a little bit, and then I'm gonna bring my entire type. Okay, my black looks like a purple. Well, what I thought was a black actually looks like a purple. And it is. It's somewhat of a purplish color. And I'm looking back at this swatch reference here, and that's clearly black. And that's clearly not. Okay, so I'm gonna put these up to the side to dry. And when I'm done with my testing and exploring of these paints, then I'm gonna bring you my full thoughts and perspective. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. What are we doing today? Today's part 2 to our review of these Centrum watercolors. This is a 6 set that I bought in my country. At where I live, there's a place that sells cosmetics and household items, and it also have a small stationery section, and that's where I got these. I did explain it in part 1. Also, what I didn't explain in part 1 is the packaging where these came in. It's basically just a plastic packaging. Just basic plastic packaging. Comes with 6 colors, no color names: red, yellow, blue, a green, a orange, and a violet color. And now I have been working with these some. I did some tests and work with them yesterday, amazingly. And so today I think I'm in a comfortable spot to work with these, so I'm bringing the second part to you. So let's discuss now some of the work that I have done with these. I've worked with these basically on 3 surfaces so far. Under here is the 4th. First we start off with the Sargent Art 250 GSM paper. This paper is slightly textured. No, this isn't Sargent Art. This is the Fabriano Studio. Fabriano Studio paper. Yeah, and this paper is slightly textured. This is how it came out. But usually in my swatches, I like to do mass tone. So as you can notice, it has that very glossy and kind of sticky effect on these. The second surface that I work with these on is on the Canson Imagine Mixed Media. Let me bring you guys out a bit. Yeah, the Canson Imagine Mixed Media. Because of what happened, wait a minute, here, when I was doing my test with these in the same book, I did this in a much lighter consistency, so I don't have that stickiness or glossiness on this paper. So as you can see, it is right here. So yeah, these don't really layer. You notice it kind of lifts the underneath layer because I waited for this yellow. I put a strip of yellow down, wait for it to dry completely. Then I put the strip of blue and red over it, and it doesn't really layer. As you can see, it actually tries to lift that underneath layer. This is where I just color mix it on palette. That was okay. Wet on wet, wet on dry, and this is where I try to do mixing with it, with wet on wet mixing. It doesn't really move either. It does lift. So yeah, and my color illustration is right there. So this is what I do first, and then I work with it just to kind of get a feel of the medium. Yeah, I also did it again just to be consistent with the Crayola watercolors from 1953 that I have, just to be consistent with this. And you notice it's much brighter than the Crayola one from 1953, and that's why I said that it's actually desaturated colors. So yeah, and the third surface I worked with this on was on this one. This is the Sargent Art paper. It is 300 pounds. This paper itself has its own challenges. I had some interesting observation on this. First of all, what I did first is this illustration was just drawn on. So when I painted with this illustration, it just had pencil markings, and then I wasn't going to reline it, but I figured it needed to be relined. And when I initially started to reline it, I started to reline it with this one here. This is a number 8. Yeah, it's a 0.8 fine liner. So it's a really thick fine liner, as you can see. And what had happened was it clogged the fine liner. Even though, as you can see, I did it in very thin, well, not very thin, but I didn't try to do thick applications. Where the applications was a little thicker than normal, it clogged the fine liner, so I basically had to stop. I think I only got through to her hair or dress just with the fine liner alone. Yeah, where the fine liner started to got clogged up, and I had to finish with a marker. Let me show you the marker. Finished my line art with this marker here. It's a basic washable felt tip marker, and it has a bullet tip. Now this is a water-based marker, but I had already painted it, so I could have put the water-based marker on top. And yeah, that worked well with this. I even tried to do some line art with some colored pencils. I think these are colored pencils. And the same thing happened. I felt that the glossiness of this, or the surface of this, it was a resistant, and it kind of resists the colored pencil when I tried to do line art on it. I don't know, it was really, really weird. The one thing the colored pencil did do was it was able to do with really thin applications. I was able to go over with some colored pencils. So I really do have to put thin applications on this for me to use colored pencils on top. And these colored pencils are Crayolas. They're not Prismacolor, they're just Crayolas because I like using Crayolas. And the other point I wanted to make is here. This is just colored pencils on white. Yeah, and that seemed to be okay. It was just where, you know, there was a resist, and the paper seemed to have like a sandy feeling. You notice I think it's because it's trees that I painted, and it wasn't really even. Yeah, the color laydown wasn't really even, and it left it with this very sandy, kind of grainy, gritty feeling. It's kind of weird. So yeah, the colors are so desaturated. I won't say it was a joy to work with, but because I've worked with so many bargain-friendly watercolor products that I bought here in the country of Belize, it's something that I'm accustomed to working with, so it wasn't unusual for me. So now I'm using this as my coloring piece. This paper is Fluid 100% cotton. This is from one of those books that I need to complete yeah, in 2025. So we'll be working with these paints in here on this illustration, and I'll give you my thoughts and perspective while I'm coloring. So now that you know what's going on, let's get into that and do the color up. Okay, let's get this started. These, I know they're not pigment based because they kind of give me the same feeling as the Crazy Art. And these paints don't gradiate, they don't granulate. They're almost, like I said, they're the kind of paints that I'm used to working with, because you know, last year I went through, especially towards the end of last year, I went through this entire phase where I was really attracted to the bargain friendly, really fun Crayola Crazy Art kind of paints. Does not move well. Like, it doesn't move in wet on wet because they don't gradiate, they don't granulate. You really do have to force it if you're going to be doing wet on wet. And I noticed that the color is, even though these are already unsaturated colors, they're even more so when you do wet on wet. When I used it on the Canson XL mixed media paper, I noticed that there was a resist. I'm not sure, I think it's probably the paper itself, because I didn't get that feeling with the Sargent art paper or with the Fluid 100 or with this paper and the Fabriano. So this is not Fabriano I'm using, this is Fluid 100, but I didn't get it with the Fabriano either. So I think that's a thing from the Canson XL mixed media paper. I felt like I was mixing ink. Like I said before, the amount of paints in these are very limited. If you notice in the beginning, even though I only did a few tests with this, I've already hit pan, especially on the purple and the orange, even though those are not colors I use a lot. I tend to use a lot of yellows, reds, and greens from this set a lot. But I've already hit pan on the orange and the purple color. The most important point, it seems like it holds better on the Sargent Art. Like I said, it seems it works okay with the Fabriano Studios. I'm just reading my points here to make sure I covered all of them. And it works well with colored pencils to a point. You really do have to, well, for me, I have to really dilute them well. Even though in concentrated tones they're already desaturated, I even have to dilute them even worse so when I'm working with colored pencil, because of that glossy, sticky resist feeling it gives. Any other point? No, I think I've covered all my points. But all in all, I will give you guys the scoring to these paints in comparison with the other paints that we have reviewed on this channel to see how it measures up. Now, I'm not saying it's the worst thing ever and it's just a 0%. It does have some good qualities. One of the best quality I think it has, it is not, it doesn't dry chalky or is it very opaque. But again, it is not saturated, it's not bright. So yeah, I think working with the snow scene was the best. I'll finish up here a bit so you guys can enjoy just a few more minutes or seconds of me painting, and then I will catch you in the wrap up. Okay, so we're finished. Yeah, you can see it's really a desaturated, and I had to desaturate it even more so it's not as sticky as it is on the swatch. So I'm thinking of hitting it with some colored pencils. Even though it's fully dried, I'm thinking of hitting it with some colored pencils so that, you know, just to give me that vibrancy I want. Now, I won't say these are the absolute worst. They have their place, and I appreciate the fact that I know how to work with these, so I don't feel discouraged by using them. Something that I forgot to mention in the wrap up was that these cost me $2 Belize. These paints that I have here cost $2 Belize, and it's about $1 US. So each paint pan is about 33 cents Belize. Amazingly, it's 0.8 cents. It's only 8 cents USD. So yeah. Oh my goodness, my yellow spilled. That's okay. I'm gonna put this to dry, and then I'm gonna give you guys what my conclusion is when I put it against other paints of its category, which are the basic, the Crazy Art, the Crayolas. How does it match up? How does it fare in? I'm gonna give you that info. And guys, let me know what you think of these paints. Is it something that you see in your country? Is it exclusive to mine? How do you feel working with these very bargain-friendly paints? Do you enjoy working with it? Is something you cannot work with? Give me all those beautiful goodness in the comments below. And thank you so much for joining me on this journey. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, by the way, these artwork in this book is actually found on my Patreon. I believe they are for either October or November of 2021. So they should be up there if you guys want to color along with me. Bye, guys.